Sound check, 1, 2. What is this? It's B. Michael here with Shifting Paradigms Business, and we are pre-recorded this evening. That's right. This is May 16th, well, May 15th tonight with the recording. You will be catching this broadcast on May 16th, 2022. B. Michael here with Shifting Paradigms, brought to you by the Black Family Technology Awareness Association and KUAW Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom Radio. Tonight, it's just me. We're going to be talking about some more revelation paradigmatics. Perfect time for what everything that's going on. Of course, we all know the most tragic news going on today in headlines is the shooting that took place in Buffalo. 10 African Americans, quote unquote, were murdered in cold blood by a devil, a straight hater, racist devil that is now calling for a war between Jews and Gentiles. That was part of the manifesto that he left. And so all of these things that are taking place are very, very profound. And I'm going to just take a few moments to, go over some headlines, but then get into the 4th chapter of Revelation so that we can actually tie all these things together and see what is developing before us today. And so without further ado, there's some headlines I do want to share that are very interesting, to say the least. Of course, again, the first one I want to bring to the forefront is, again, the Buffalo shooter is calling for a war between Gentiles and Jews. This is from Israel Today. Of course, we know that 10 people gunned down, Black people, all of them African American and Jews, which is a very interesting nexus that has to be brought into focus here. The Jews, so all this here is just about hate and the emergence of, what we have to deal with as results from all of these incidents taking place around the world today. And so they're talking about the Ashkenazim, and there are some very interesting historical developments that have taken place to bring forth the Ashkenaz Jews, which interestingly are descended from Japhet. And that's something when you read Genesis 10, you'll have a little more context clue about that. Japhet, of course, is the son of Noah, but Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob come from Shem, okay? Shem was the other son of Noah, who also was the father of Ham. And so Japhet are where the Gentiles come from. When you read Genesis 10, those are Gentiles. And so Ashkenaz was a descendant of Gomer. Gomer was a descendant of Japhet. And so these are Gentiles in their root when you get to the root of the matter. So that's just one article there. Some other articles that I want to bring to our attention, and just really understanding this country, the United States. It wasn't founded upon Christianity. It wasn't founded upon biblical principles. This is a pluralist society founded by Freemasons. So there's a lot of very interesting history that is wrapped up, occult history in the United States, okay? So nowhere do they mention the scriptures, Christianity, even Judaism, or the Messiah. They talk about the God of nature when you deal with the Bill of Rights. And so this is what this is really about. It's not about any particular religion. It's a pluralist society. In fact, many of these people were Luciferians, very clear. So that's one article there. And connecting more religious matters and looking at the main Christian entity, the Catholic Church. History is now revealing that there were agreements, or what they called concordats, what the Vatican called concordats, agreements with the Nazi regime. Pope Pius XII was a collaborator with the Nazis, and he would not interfere with the Nazis as long as the Nazis did not interfere with the matters of the church. And in fact, Hitler was quoted as saying he was modeling his SS, his stormtroopers, after the Jesuits. So it's a very interesting connection and nexus here. And so Pope Pius XII was pretty much a co-conspirator in so many ways with what took place during World War II. So these are just headlines. Where this evening, a blood moon has come about. A full eclipse blood moon. Or full moon blood eclipse, shall we say. And of course, the sun shall turn into darkness and the moon shall turn into blood, which is from Joel 3:4. And the earth, moon, and sun will align this evening, which is Sunday night, the night this is recorded, creating a total lunar eclipse, the first full eclipse of the year. When this happens, the moon passes through the earth's shadow, and the earth blocks the sun rays from illuminating the moon. This gives the moon a red hue and what many refer to as a blood moon. The moon on Sunday is also a super moon. Tonight, it's a super moon, making it a super blood moon eclipse. The total lunar eclipse will be visible from portions of the Americas, Antarctica, Europe, Africa, the East Pacific. Meanwhile, a penumbral eclipse where the outer part of the Earth's shadow blankets the moon will be visible in New Zealand, Eastern Europe, and the Middle East. The moon will be faint, reddish in its glow during totality as red wavelengths of sunlight filter through our planet's atmosphere onto the moon's surface. The air molecules from Earth's atmosphere scatter out most of the blue light. Remaining light reflects onto the moon's surface with a red glow, making the moon appear red in the night sky. At different moments during the eclipse, it could also appear to take on shades of orange, yellow, or brown. A lunar eclipse only occurs when a full moon can last up to 6 hours, okay? So what is this about? Let's go into this. So we know the science behind that, but the timing of this is very interesting. This moon is during the night of the second Passover. So if someone was unclean and not able to observe the Passover from last month, this month affords them the opportunity to observe what is called the second Passover, okay? So the timing of the lunar event is quite auspicious, coming directly after Pesach Sheni, the second Passover, okay? For those unable to observe the first Passover due to being ritually unclean or on a travel trip somewhere distant from able to observe it. Coincidentally, it falls on Nakba, the day when the Palestinians commemorate the catastrophe of the creation of the state of Israel. Rabbi Eyal Rice, the director of the Safat Kabbalah Center, emphasized the difference between the Jewish holiday and the Palestinian day. Pesach Sheni is proof that everything can be fixed and that it is our purpose in the world, Rabbi Rice says. This is manifested in the moon, which is constantly in the process of fixing or renewing itself. This is even more true for a lunar eclipse. The moon completely disappears, but it returns. This month is the month of ER, which is an acronym. Okay, this is Ani Hashem Raficha, I am your healer. That's what ER is the acronym of. I am your healer. Ani, which is Aleph, Yod, and Rosh, Ayar. Nakba is the Palestinians lamenting a reality, reacting in anger, rather than working to fix it. Rabbi Nachman Kahain emphasized that Sunday was Pesach Sheni, a day of serving Elohim in Jerusalem. Sunday isn't Nakba for the Arabs. For them, every day the Jews exist is Nakba. But let's keep in mind, you have Zionists, which use religion as a front. And then you do have observant Torah Ashkenazim, Jews, who are actually seeking righteousness, okay? Same thing with Arabs. You have Arabs who are extremists, and you have Arabs who are also very observant of the Quran and understand the middle path, okay? So same thing with Christians. Again, you have the Catholics, you have the Jesuits, you have those who are very extremists, you have the Ku Klux Klan, you have the white nationalists, you have all these extremists, right, that are going about carrying forth a religion. And I gave a presentation this past week, a week from today, as a matter of fact, a week from Sunday, today, that discusses how the Creator did not give humanity a religion. He gave them laws. He gave them a kingdom. The Spirit of the Most High gave his people a kingdom to manifest, a government. He gave us a government. and that government is based on love. I mean, it's clear. Let's just make it clear, okay? Of course, you're dealing with the assassination of the Al Jazeera correspondent. I forgot the woman's name, but she was shot through her ear, and they were carrying her coffin to a church. She was a Christian, and the IDF prevented them from getting there. And so you have a lot of political upheavals, but these are all the signs, you know, wars and rumors of wars, nations against nations, right? Famines, earthquakes, full like signs in the heavens, right? The moon shall turn blood red before the coming of the great day of the Most High. All these things are portents of revelation, of that which is being unveiled, the apocalypse. That's why it's so important for us to understand these things, okay? And so looking at what an eclipse signifies, according to scripture, in the book Devar Eto, a guide to the calendar based on esoteric Israelite sources, Rabbi Mordecai Genut discusses the meaning of eclipses in Israelite tradition. Genut explained that lunar eclipses are considered a bad omen for Israel under normal circumstances. This is based on a discussion of eclipses from the Talmud, which is Sukkot 29a, that specifically stated that the nation of Israel is spiritually represented by the moon, okay? She is the reflection of the light of the sun, which is considered the Most High representation, not the Most High itself. If the moon appears red during the lunar eclipse, as the upcoming eclipse will be, the Talmud states that this is an omen that great wars will come to the world. And we know we're in the throes of that with Ukraine and Russia, with China and Taiwan. All this stuff is very interesting. There was a shooting today, as a matter of fact, today on Sunday in Orange County at a Taiwanese Presbyterian church by another Asian man. They didn't say if he was Chinese, they said he was an Asian man, but these things are precipitating all of these conflicts, and we have to take note of what's going on. So again, these are indicative of great wars coming to the world. In the time of the Talmud, only Israel set the calendar according to the moon. Setting the calendar according to the sun was the practice of idolaters like Rome, right? Which they still do, right? The Gregorian calendar is a solar lunar calendar, predominantly solar, which named the solar months in days after pagan gods. So when we look at the days of the week, from Sunday, named literally after the sun, all the way to Saturn's day, these are gods. And the scriptures tell us not to mention the name of any other gods. But here it is, every day of the week, we're calling on gods, okay? The month of the year, same thing. Even with Augustus and Julius Caesar, Julius and Augustus Caesar. The only days of the months of the year that are not idolatrous are the 7th month, 8th month, 9th month, and 10th month. Ironically, though, they are considered what? The 9th month, 10th month, 11th month, 12th month. So you have October or September, October, November, December. So Sept is 7, Oct is 8, Nov is 9, Des is 10. But here it is, they're the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th month of the year because they change time. But this next article is going to really address some things about time that's taking place because there's a misalignment that is taking place that is now coming back in time. So powerful. So powerful. So again, the Talmud states that omens contained within eclipses, and that when Israel does the will of the Most High, they have nothing to fear from all of this. And this is what we have to understand. We are completely immune and hidden in the shadow of the Most High during these tumultuous times. Thus said Yah, do not learn the ways of the Gentiles, the heathen. And we just talked about who the heathen are. And do not be dismayed by portents in the sky. Let the nations be dismayed by them. Let the Gentiles, let the infidels, let the disbelievers be dismayed by them. This is a warning to the Israeli government, and I would say to all governments of the world, right? They need to be strong when it comes to establishing righteousness and establishing peace. Yerushalayim in Hebrew means the city of peace, right? The rabbi also noted the book of prophecy from Joel that states the moon will be blood preceding the coming of Mashiach. And this is going to lead to Revelation 4. Before the great and terrible day of Yah comes, I will set portents in the sky and on earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. The sun shall turn into darkness and the moon into blood, but everyone who invokes the name of Yah shall escape. For there shall be a remnant on Mount Sion and in Jerusalem, as Yah has promised. Anyone who invokes Yah's name will be among the survivors. That's from Yoel, or the book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 3 through 5. We are indeed close to the end of days, so these astronomical signs are taking on increased importance. Very interesting. Let's look at this last article I want to get into. It's called Energetics Given. Time is being reconfigured. And this is so important because one of the things that this fourth beast from the book of Daniel and the beast from the sea in Revelation was intent on doing was changing times and appointed times and seasons and law. Changing times and law. This is what the beast was intent on doing. And we know that you have the Julian calendar, and then you had the Gregorian calendar. Prior to that, the world was operating on an entirely different system of time. But now we're going back to original time. We're reorienting ourselves to original time, because here's the thing, many people don't even know what time it is. When they're looking out and seeing the signs, they're clueless as to what time it is, because that's what the sun, the moon, and the stars were given for times, for seasons, and for signs, to know what time it is. That's why Yahushua castigated the Pharisees. He says, you can know what tomorrow's weather is going to bring, because tomorrow you will say it will be rainy because at night the sun was red, or the sky was red, but you don't know the signs of the times. You don't know the seasons of life that we are in, prophetically speaking. But time is being reconfigured. KUAW, the author of this, says this is a much more than a teaching. This article is. This is a set of energetics that is now being given to you. Energetics that substantiate and hold the knowledge that you are being given. Without these energetics, this knowledge could not be received by you nor the students. It is required that this set of energetics be present for us to articulate and give forth what is now being given. So much more than language is being transmitted at this very moment. Many light frequencies. This is about light. The world is being consumed in darkness. Eclipse tonight, but light is being transmitted as well. Many light frequencies are being transmitted. You are receiving them through the use of your light body. Do you know you have biophotons that can illuminate? That your body is mainly a electrochemical plant? That's your body, right? Dendrites and synapses with the nerves sending electrical impulses through your body. Your body's 75% water and other fluids, right? You are receiving them through the use of your light body. There are various patterns and configurations that are being given at this very moment. They are not only light frequencies, but are also patterns and geometrics and currents of sounds that you are not able to hear with your physical body. You have to tap into your spiritual body, okay? Your light body has a great ability to resonate with these currents. What is being given through light, sound, and geometry, all forming patterns. Each pattern is significant and has a purpose and a use. The purpose of many of these patterns is one of creation. The manifestation of this creation into third dimensional form is in need of reconfiguration. Many of these forms that were created eons ago had errors in their formulation. Not only did they have errors, but their frequencies were misshapen over time through mutation. That means things will change, of course. Since the mutations have stopped, there has been a gradual reconfiguration since the year 2003. What is desired now is a more intense clearing of this misshapen configuration. Time is being reconfigured. It is being brought back and restored to its original function. This is another pattern that was misaligned through the efforts of the Catholic Church under Pope Julian and Pope Gregory. They misaligned it intentionally to put everything in alignment with their will. not the will of nature, not the will of the creator. I do not want to say misshapen because the pattern was installed for a purpose and a reason. They clearly set their own reasons, and it was told that in Daniel 7 that this would take place. They clearly stated this. Prophetically speaking, they will change times and law. The purpose and the reason is no longer relevant as humanity has somewhat shifted out of third dimensional reality. Okay, we're now expanding our consciousness into deeper dimensions. There are still some who insist on holding on, but it is not a viable reality any longer. And that's why we're seeing so much death right now, because the vibration of the earth itself, and we've talked about this before here in Shifting Paradigms, the resonance of the earth's vibratory rate is increasing. They call it the Schumann resonance. And with that, there's a higher consciousness that is coming with it. And any and everyone who is not able to acclimate their vibration or vibratory rate to the earth, they're phasing out. Their energy is fading off, okay? So it is becoming very apparent that the linear, because everything is cyclical, it's not linear, that the linear part of third dimension is falling away very quickly. That's why you're seeing this fiat currency, this temporal, transitory, illusory existence of money is coming to an end quickly. Quickly. And so many people worship this piece of paper and will murder over this piece of paper. That is worthless. It has nothing substantially backing it. There's nothing in collateral but the faith of the people and the military. And that means nothing. It really means nothing. So the purpose is, no, let me go. It is becoming very apparent that the linear part of the third dimension is falling away very quickly. It must be replaced with energetic patterns that will support the coming shift to fifth dimension, when things will go back to their nature, where it will be a more ethereal reality, and when substance will come into existence and evidence will be presented in support of it. It must support this transitory time frame for the majority. And it is through this support that they will have an easier transition to fifth with less resistance. There will be the ability to relax and go into fifth dimension with less fear. So this is what we're dealing with now, okay? We're dealing with the transition of time from one age in order to another age in order. And this means the end of the world as we know it is not going to be a complete cessation of existence entirely. It's going to be the cessation of an order, of misaligned and misappropriated energy. And anything that is imbalanced and out of harmonic resonance, it has to go. It has to go, because everything is meant to be in accord and as one. And this is what human beings' responsibility is all about. This leads now to Revelation 4. Revelation 4 is so important to understand as relates to the configuration of existence. The configuration of existence. What we'll see in Revelation 4 is the pattern of not only space, but also time. It is so important to understand. You'll see geometric configurations. You'll see light. You'll see sounds, right? You'll see the pattern that was established for the purpose of bringing oneness into existence on earth. Revelation 4, it says, after this I looked and I saw a door being opened in the heaven. This door is about dominion. It is about sovereignty. It is about having access to the authority for rulership and order. The fourth letter, Dalet, which is the idea of door, even the word for door, Dalet, is about the tribe of Yahudah being reestablished on the throne. You'll see the throne in the very next verse. Because this is about the enthronement of the lion tribe, the tribe that rules in righteousness. Let's be clear about that. I saw a door being opened in the heaven, and the heaven is a correspondent reality. Yes, there's the heaven of heavens, but the heaven on earth is what the whole world is contesting over for right now, which is Israel. That's the heaven on earth, and particularly Jerusalem. That's why the person was calling for justice to be done in Jerusalem, because that's where Yah has chosen to establish the throne. And the first voice which I heard was like a trumpet. This is a call to repentance, speaking with me, saying, come up here and I shall show you what has to take place after this, after the alignment of the 7 assemblies, getting their houses in order. This is now what will take place, because the more the order of the righteous come, the more the disorder of the enemy and the adversary will come to disrupt that. Very much so. And immediately, I came to be in the spirit. So this is not a physical vision that Yohanan saw, that John saw. This is a vision. He came to be in the spirit. This means he entered into a trance. He entered into a vision. And he saw a throne set in the heaven. And one sat on the throne. One, right? But this one is a collective. It is a collective reality. Because the people will be given the throne, the rulership, the kingdom, okay? And so that throne is through Yahudah, okay? Yahudah will lead the people into the resurrection, into the restoration, into the redemption of the earth, into the repair of the age, tikkun olam, the repair of the age, okay? And that one that sat on the throne is the righteous one, the most holy, the righteous, the set apart. And he who sat there was like a jasper and a ruby stone in appearance. So now you're dealing with energy resonance, right? These jaspers and rubies are very rooted stones. They're dealing with roots, okay? They're dealing with root energy. They're dealing with things that are able to overcome and to endure, right? And to give off a brilliance of light. And there was a rainbow around the throne. There's this light resonance again, like an emerald in appearance. And this rainbow, let's look at this. Let's go to Zechariah 9, this bow. This bow. This is in Zechariah 9. It says, let's go to verse 12. Return to the stronghold, you prisoners of the expectation. Even today, I declare that I return double to you, restoration. For I shall bend Yahudah for me. What is something that bends? Oh, it's a bow. And I shall fill the bow, Yahudah is the bow, with Ephraim. And I shall stir up your sons, O Sion, O Zion, against your sons, O Greece. And I shall make you like the sword of a mighty man. This is what that murderer in Buffalo was calling for. The war between the Jews and the Gentiles. Israel, representative of Zion, and those who sojourn with Israel in righteousness. In Greece is symbolic of the beast, and all who are party with the beast, all who are marked by the beast. So this is the war this man is calling for. He's an adversary to life, clearly. And he shall appear for them. Yah shall appear for them, and his arrow go forth like lightning. Right? And what happens after storms typically? You get a rainbow. And the master Yah sounds the ram's horn. And he shall go with whirlwinds from the south. Yah of hosts shall shield them. Hallelujah. And they shall cover and devour and trample. They shall devour and trample on sling stones. And they shall drink, roar as if with wine. And they shall be filled like basins, like the corners of the altar. And Yah the Elohim shall save them in that day as the flock of his people, for the stones of a diadem, jasper and ruby, sparkling over his land. For what goodness is his, and what comeliness is his. Grain make the young men thrive. That is the body, the bread, the eating of the Torah, becoming the Torah, and new wine, the maidens. This is the revelation of the Torah. This is the application of the Torah. So what we're dealing with here is the establishment of the righteous order of Judah, back on earth, seated on the throne, bringing order to the world, bringing righteousness, bringing justice and equity, bringing truth. That's what Revelation is all about. This is about a political reality on earth, not leaving the earth and having to go to heaven. This is about bringing heaven. This is what this is about. So this is why you're seeing these in vision in order to make it happen, to manifest in reality. And around the throne were 24 thrones. 24, very interesting number. And on the throne, I saw 24 elders seating, dressed in white robes, and they had crowns of gold on their heads. This is the judge. These are the judges. These are the righteous judges. These are those who are the counselors of wisdom of those who sit on the throne. But they're judges. They're rulers with the messianic entity, the messianic kingdom. Okay, 24 is because you have two harvests. Keep in mind, this is after everything is in order, right? This is the resurrection established. This is now bringing forth the barley and the wheat harvest. Go check out this past week's parsha on my webpage, shiftingparadigms.wordpress.com. Take out all the vowels of shifting paradigms with a Z on the end. Or come to the Facebook page and check out Parsha Emor discussion, Beit Mashiach, the House of Messiah's discussion on Parsha Emor, where we talk about the reality of these two harvests. These two harvests are so important because you have 144,000 times two. So there's 288,000 righteous. But of that harvest, you have 12 elders from each harvest that make it 24. Okay, that's why there's 24 thrones and 24 elders dressed in white robes. It means they're righteous. And they had crowns of gold on their heads. They're overcomers. They're victors. They have tapped into the messianic consciousness that the Torah afforded them. And they were obedient. They were faithful to it. They were faithful. Let's use that word, faithful to it in covenant. They were married to truth. They were married to love. They were married to righteousness. They were married to justice. That is what we are to marry. And out of the throne came lightnings and thunders and voices. This is theophanic. This is a theophanic manifestation of the divine presence, of the Shekinah of Yah, because the people bear the presence. Yah never desired to dwell in an ark. Yah never desired to dwell in a tabernacle. Yah never desired to dwell in a temple made by hands. He desired to dwell in his people. And so when these people are united, and this throne is established, and these elders are seated, well then, that's when you have the presence of Yah on earth. That is Elohim. That's when you'll see the lightnings and the thunders and the voices, because it is our voices that make all these things happen. We have that power. That's called abracadabra, or abracadabra. I create as I speak. We have the power of life and death in our tongue, and those who love it eat the fruit thereof. But we are going to speak life. But even in speaking life, there are some things that must come to death. There are some things that must come to death in order for life to proliferate. And we will do so. Amen. So out of the throne came lightnings and thunders and voices, and 7 lamps of fire were burning before the throne, which are the 7 spirits of Elohim. And we covered that in Revelation 1 several weeks ago. But these 7 lamps, the menorot, the menorah are the assemblies. These are the people of Yah again. These are the people of Yah. And the people of Yah functioning in the 7 spirits, which you read of in Isaiah 11. When you're dealing with these 7 spirits, the spirit of Yah, 1 shall rest upon him. The spirit of wisdom, 2, understanding, 3, counsel, 4, might, 5, knowledge, 6, and the fear of Yah, 7. So when we're functioning in these 7 spirits before the throne, being obedient to Yah, following Yah wherever he leads us on, following his Mashiach, following his anointed one, his Melech, his king, wherever he goes, and wherever he commands them to go, well, then that's when that throne is truly established, because it is the people's imperative to establish the throne. Because if the king is giving a decree, but no one is following the decree, where is the kingdom? It's nowhere. The kingdom is wherever the word of the king is present. Wherever the word of the king is present, there is the kingdom. That's why Yahushua told the woman at the well, not on this mountain or in Jerusalem will you worship the Most High, but whoever worships the Most High in spirit and truth, that's where the presence of the Most High will be. So again, the spirit of Yah, right, which is of self-existence, which is of self-determination, which is of eternal realities, which is truth, right? The spirit of wisdom and understanding, counsel and might, knowledge, and the fear of Yah. These are the 7 spirits before the throne, which brings a completion, which brings shalom, which brings wholeness and healing and restoration, right? And before the throne, there was a sea of glass. This is the firmament that you read of in Genesis 1. This is the firmament that you read of between Eliezer and the rich man in Abraham's bosom. The Eliezer, the beggar, and Abraham's bosom, when there was a firmament, a chasm, a great firmament was cast between them, separating, what did it separate? Water from water, people from people, right? Light from darkness, the righteous from the wicked, the sheep from the goats, the wheats from the tares. This is what this firmament is all about, the sea of glass. It is a separation of the righteous from the wicked, of the light from the dark, right? Before the throne, because that's where judgment takes place. And in the midst of the throne and around the throne, 4 living creatures covered with eyes in front and back. And this is where it gets so beautiful. This is where the code becomes like cracked and unveiled, because these 4 living creatures, you have to understand what these 4 living creatures are. Well, shall I say who these 4 living creatures are? Because these 4 living creatures prefigure in the mandate to make heaven manifest on earth. Okay. And they see all things because they're surrounding each other. They're picking up all things. They're in alignment. They're in attunement, right, with one another and with the Most High. So continuing on, the first living creature was like a lion. I'm going to show you where you can decode this in the Torah. The first living creature was like a lion. The second living creature, like a calf. The third living creature had a face like a man, and the fourth living creature was like a flying eagle. Well, where do you see this configuration? Where do you see this vision manifest? When you turn to the book of Numbers, the 2nd chapter, the 2nd verse tells you this. The children of Israel are to camp, each one by his own banner. So these banners had images on them. These banners had images on them. Okay? Beside the sign of his father's house. Let them camp around the tent of meeting at a distance. What was in the tent of meeting? The Ark of the Covenant. What did the Ark of the Covenant bear? The presence of Yah. It was central in the encampment of Israel. But there were 4 living creatures surrounding the tent of meeting. On the east side, toward sunrise, to the east, my brother, to the east, my brother, to the east, my brother, to the east is that king that was on that throne. Those of the banner of the camp of Yehuda, of Judah, according to their divisions. And the leader of the children of Yehuda, Nachshon, son of Aminadab. Okay, so Judah is the bearer of the banner facing east, which means they are the first, they are the forerunner, they are the ones who are the leaders in this matter. But who is with Judah? You have Yissaschar and you have Zebulun. So 1/4 of the 12 tribes of Israel on the east side, under the banner of the lion. Oh, the lion, Revelation 4 says in verse 7, the first creature was like a lion. Oh, that's Judah. Okay, so who's the second creature? Let me draw these a little closer here. The second creature on the south side, so not west. This is directly opposed to the east as west, but now they're going to the south side and they're going to talk about who the man is. The banner of the camp of Reuben. Who was Reuben? Reuben ben Yaakov, the son of Jacob, was his firstborn son. He is, behold, a man. His name means, behold, a man. See, a man. See, a son. Re, which means to see. Ubain, which means a son. See, a man, a son. That's what Reuben means. So he is now prefigured here as the creature with the face like a man. You're looking at the encampment of Israel in the wilderness that is symbolic of the throne in heaven. This is the corresponding reality in heaven, on earth. So who is with Reuben? Okay, you have Shimon, led by Shalumiel. Reuben was led by Elitsur, son of Shedior. But also with him, you have Shimon, the tribe of Shimon, and the tribe of Gad, led by Eliasaph. Okay, so those are to the south, the man. Judah is the lion, Reuben is the man. Next to him, right, well, you have the Levites in the middle with the tent of meeting, okay? Lewi is in the middle because they have no inheritance. Yah is their inheritance. They have no portion. Yah is their portion. They take care of the tabernacle or the tent of meeting. They attend to that, and they are the ministers of Yah before Israel. Israel are the ministers to Yah before the world. What Lewi was doing to Israel, Israel was to do to the world. What Yahushua did to Israel, Israel is to do to the world. What the Mashiach, what Messiah did to Israel, Israel is to do to the world. And this is why they're being arranged this way. This is why their pattern is being established. This is why their alignment is coming back into shape. This is why the light is being born, because this is the light right here before the entire world. This is the light before the entire world. This is the alignment of time that is taking shape again and aligning, because these people bear the order of time as given to them from the creator of heaven, earth, sea, and all that is in them. So who is next? Next, you have the ox. On the west side, the banner of the camp of Ephraim, according to their divisions, and the leader of the children of Ephraim, Elishama, son of Amihud. Okay, so now you have the ox, or they call it the calf. Ephraim is the calf. Okay, so now you have Judah the lion, Reuben the man, and now you have Ephraim the calf. Okay, who is with Ephraim? What are the other three with him? The other two with him, the tribe of Menashe, with Gamliel, son of Pedesur. And then you have Benjamin, which is led by Abidan, son of Gidoni. Okay, so now you have 3/4 of the tribes of Israel in configuration. And the last one, the eagle, is on the north side, the banner of the camp of Dan, the judge, according to their divisions, and the leader of the children of Dan, Achi Ezer. My brother is my helper. Okay, and this is the son of Ammishaddai. With him, the tribe of Asher, led by Pagiel, son of Okran, and also Naphtali, led by Achirah, son of Enan. Okay, so this is what you're seeing in Revelation 4. You're seeing the four living creatures as the encampment of Yah before that. Let me go ahead and give you all a good look into what this is like real quick. The wilderness tabernacle, right? The wilderness tabernacle in camp of Israel. So when we take a look at this here, let's go to the images. What does this look like? The four living creatures. Let's take a look at how Balaam saw it. Right? To the east, right here, Yehuda, Yisachar, Zebulun. To the west, Ephraim, Menashe, and Benjamin. To the north, to the south, Reuben, Shimon, and Gad. And to the north, Dan, Asher, and Naphtali. Lewi was in the middle. But this is what you're seeing with the four living creatures right here. And this is why they had eyes in front and behind them, because they were an encampment. They saw everything. What Gad saw was opposite to what Dan saw. What Dan saw was opposite to what Gad saw. They had everything covered. And when the Spirit told them to go, these are also the wheels within the wheels that Ezekiel saw. These are the wheels within the wheels. This is everything here. And what this does is this brings the manifest presence of the Shekinah, the Shekinah, to earth. When Israel is assembled in one, this is one man. This is one man. So again, the four living creatures, each having 6 wings. Where does that come from? We'll get to that very quickly. were covered with eyes around and within, and they do not cease day and night, saying the Hechalot, which is Kadosh, 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 Yah El Shaddai, who was, who is, and who is coming. Set apart, set apart, set apart, or what we say in English, holy, holy, holy. Okay? But these 6 wings go back to Isaiah chapter 6. And these 6 wings are dealing with the seraphim. The seraphim are those who are the ones who are on fire. Above it stood seraphim. Each had 6 wings. With 2 he covered his face, with 2 he covered his feet, and with 2 he flew. But these wings for Israel are symbolic of what you call the Tzitzit. Okay, the Tzitzit, even though they're supposed to be on the 4 corners, but when you have an additional talit on, well, everyone now has 6 wings. Okay, because there's garments that they wear that have talit on them, but then with the talit on it, now you have an additional pair of wings to go with. In fact, when we look at this here, let's look at what this says. The 4 living creatures, each by itself severally, had 6 wings. Around within are full of eyes, and rest they have not day and night, saying, holy, 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 Yah El Shaddai, who was, who is, and who is coming. The location of the 4 living creatures who proclaim holy, holy, holy is said to be around the throne in the world of Bariah. Bariah is the world of creation. It's a 4-dimensional reality. So this is the 4th dimension, okay? Rabbi Yitzhak Ginsburg states, in each of the 3 lower worlds, there exists a class of angels, messengers of Elohim, to manifest his presence and rule over the created entities of the lower worlds. The world of Bariah, in the spiritual abode of the seraphim, the fiery angels, these are the angels that the prophet Isaiah saw in his holy vision of the divine chariot. These are the angels that exclaim to Elohim, holy, holy, holy is the Elohim of hosts. The whole earth is full of his esteem. John's vision is similar to that of Ezekiel's, with an interesting variation. John shows the creatures as having 6 wings and Ezekiel as having 4. John is not alone in this difference. Isaiah also recorded these same beings as having 6 wings. This variation is discussed in the Talmud. We just read Isaiah's statement of that, which is why I skipped over that, which offers the solution that the living creatures have 6 wings when the temple is standing and 4 when it is not. The additional wings are used to create song. John had a vision including a temple in place. Ezekiel did not. Okay, so these are about prophetic revelation as well. Okay, so all of this prefigures, and again, the manifestation of the presence of the Most High on earth, which is what all this is ultimately about. And when the living creatures give esteem and respect and thanks to him who sits on the throne, who lives forever and ever, the 24 elders fall down before him who sits on the throne and bow down before him who lives forever and ever. And they cast their crowns before the throne, saying, you are worthy, O Yah, to receive esteem and respect and power. For you have created all, and because of your desire, they are and were created. So all of this ultimately comes down to, again, accepting the sovereignty of the Most High and following the providential order, the providence, divine providence, which means the will of heaven. And this is what Revelation is about. Revelation, again, is about the disclosure of heavenly secrets and the revelation of the divine will. This is what this is all about, the disclosure of heavenly secrets and the revelation of divine will. And what this will ultimately do is bring forth the governmental reality of the kingdom of heaven on earth. But this is the people's imperative. This is not something that we're going to. This is something that we are to bring with us here on earth, because the kingdom of heaven, as we discussed this past Sunday at the presentation that y'all allowed for me to give, is within you and me. And we have to bring that kingdom forth. This is what this is really all about. And this is what we have to do in order to bring forth the world that everyone is crying and screaming out for. And it's no mystery to those who are in the know why the world is falling apart at its seams, why the financial systems are completely going into shambles, why nations are tumultuous with one another, because there is a shift taking place. And in times of crisis, as we know many do, it is the perfect time to take advantage of opportunities to bring forth the reality that is beneficial, not just for you. That's what capitalists do. Capitalists are only thinking about their own personal coffers and their own immediate circle. The righteous think about humanity. How do we make this work for humanity? What systems can we put in place alternatively to assure that humanity benefits, that creation benefits? Because if you think about it, the seas are crying out for help. The earth itself is crying out for help from pollution. The skies are crying out for help. That's what these birth pains are all for, because the world is wanting to experience a new birth. And with that, I'm going to close with this particular passage here from the book of Romans. This is where we are. This is what the earth is crying out for. This is the 8th chapter of Romans. And I'm going to close with this here. It says in Romans 8, verse 19, it says, "For the intense longing of the creation eagerly waits for the revealing of the sons of Elohim." This is what the creation is crying out for right now. Where are these sons of Elohim? Where are these angelic men who shine like the sun, right? Standing on the moon with crowns of 12 stars, crowns of 12 stars on their head. Where are these men at? Where are these women at? Where are these children at? For the creation was subjected to futility, not from choice, right? But because those who are righteous defaulted. And when they defaulted, someone took over. Someone took advantage of that crisis, stepped in and brought their own system that is completely out of order into existence. But because of him who subjected it, in anticipation that the creation itself shall also be delivered from the bondage to corruption, which is what the world is now suffering from, corruption, into the esteemed freedom of the children of Elohim. This is what this is all about. The transition that is taking place from corruption to incorruption, from mortal to immortality, from earthly to heavenly, right? This is what is taking place. From terrestrial to celestial. That is what is taking place as we speak. For we know that all the creation groans together and suffers the pains of childbirth together until now. This is what this is all about. The birth pains of Messiah, Chavlei HaMashiach, the birth pains of Messiah. And not only so, but even we ourselves who have the first fruits of the Spirit, we ourselves also groan within ourselves, eagerly waiting for the adoption, the redemption of our body. We're going to get new bodies. We're going to get esteemed bodies. Our bodies are going to literally activate because it's been dormant for so long. Who we are, we don't even know who we are. Put it that way. We don't even know who we are. We don't even know our capacities because we only use up to about 7% of our brain capacity. Once we tap into that higher consciousness, it's going to bring our body. Free your mind and the rest shall follow, right? And the body will have an ultimate purpose of being the vehicle of consciousness that it serves to be. And then there will be no limitations. There will be no limitations. For in this expectation, we were saved. With expectation that is seen is not expectation. For when anyone sees, does he expect it? That's what faith is all about. Faith is all about knowing what is to come in expectancy, having the evidence and the substance of it, and pursuing it. Walking by faith, not by sight. That don't mean you're walking blind. If anybody walks blind, they're foolish. But if you know what you're walking towards, if you know the direction that you're heading in, if you know the destination that is being arrived at, well, then you're going to get there. And if we expect what we do not see, we eagerly wait for it with endurance, right? And in the same way, the Spirit does help in our weakness. For we do not know what we should pray, but the Spirit himself pleads our case for us with groanings unutterable. And he who searches the heart knows what the mind of the Spirit is, because he makes intercession for the set apart ones according to Elohim. And we know that all matters work together for good to those who love Elohim, to those who are called according to his purpose, because those whom he knew beforehand, he also ordained beforehand to be conformed to the likeness of his Son, for him to be the firstborn among many brothers. And whom he ordained beforehand, these he also called. And whom he called, these he also declared right. And whom he declared right, these he also esteemed. What then shall we say to this? If Elohim is for us, who is against us? Selah. And so with that, I want to go ahead and bring this to a close. Man, we're going to be back in a couple weeks, and we more than likely will have a guest, a studio guest. But I want to leave these definite words with you all. I'm going to pick back up in Revelation because this is a perfect time to bring this book into the forefront, into the light, and to dispel the myth that this book is not supposed to be understood. This revelation was given so you know what is going to happen, so you know what you're supposed to do, what your marching orders are. We got to get in order. We got to get assembled. We got to get one. We have to understand where we're supposed to be and who we're supposed to be serving and how we're supposed to do. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. This is B. Michael with Shifting Paradigms. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and the Most High bless and keep you all. Until next time, shalom and shalom.